Hello, cosmic beings. Welcome to Being Cosmic. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I am so glad that each and every one of you are here. My name is Devon, and I will be doing a collective message today. So, with that, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. All righty. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support on the channel. The likes, shares, comments, subscribes, and the donations all really do help out. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you are interested in a personal reading from me, you can find that information in the description box below. All right, what's going on with the collective? What do they need to hear today for their highest good? Happy, happy. Hey, okay, what I'm getting from this card is you could be really focused on your internal state of being right now. Really shifting into an energy where you are releasing lower lower frequency emotions, processing things, healing, so on and so forth, and really focusing on shifting into this happy energy. Okay, being called to read it. So let's see here. Joy and contentment, a sense of fulfillment, a feeling that all is well. Your desires are effortlessly fulfilled now. Find joy in the present moment, whatever is happening, and be satisfied with things as they are. You're free from the shackles of longing and able to experience the liberation that comes from actually being happy moment to moment, for you have chosen happiness over yearning for it. Now is the time for feeling joy for the sake of joy and experiencing contentment. None of this is because of something outside of yourself. Your happiness is a result of your being at one with Spirit's plan for your life. All is well. The tide is in for now. Enjoy playfully splashing in it. Okay. So yeah, it's really talking about finding that internal state of happiness in the now moment. And I feel like that's really what is like the recommendation. We've got Imagine on the bottom of the deck, and this is really talking about visualizing different things, daydreaming about different things, and then bringing those things into the physical reality. And it's a lot easier to manifest the things that we desire when we're more in this internally contentment space. Happy, joyful, even just at peace, more neutral. That's still a really good energy to be in to manifest the things that you do desire. The next card on the bottom of the deck is the All That Glitters card. And what I'm getting from this is there could be things that you are visualizing, things that you are desiring, that maybe you are still kind of thinking are too good to be true. But understand that if you are desiring something and you're visualizing something and it continues to come back around, especially, it's for a reason. It's because your soul's calling you towards that. For some of you, it's going to be, maybe it's a career, a location, traveling. For others of you, it's going to be a specific person. Okay, it's really interesting. So when the happy card came out and I was talking about it, I was feeling that that's not actually the energy of the collective right now. And we've got chaos and conflict on the top. And so what I'm getting is that this is kind of a conscious thing that you're being asked to really shift into because it's one of these things that what we're kind of taught and trained in society is that do this thing and then you'll be happy. Get this thing and then you'll be happy. When it's actually the inverse. It's become happy and satisfied in the now moment, and then your external reality will start to reflect back things that just make you more happy, more content, more fulfilled. And so I feel like this is really more of kind of a suggestion for you to really do your best to shift into this happiness energy in whatever way that is for you. And sometimes, it depends on what you're dealing with. It depends on how intense this chaos and conflict is that you are experiencing. sometimes it's just not really feasible to be like, yeah, just let all that go and be happy. And so it's understanding that it's okay to just be neutral. It's make sure you're processing and releasing those heavier emotions that are coming up, and then just shift into a place of neutrality where you're just content in everything else. But it's also finding this happiness in the middle of the storm and learning how to shift your internal state of being regardless of the external circumstances. And so it's finding that peace in the middle of the storm, and that's when your life will change. And it's easier said than done, but it is possible. And I'm speaking from experience. It is possible to get into this internal state of peace when the external is chaotic, or there's a lot of conflict going on, because it's really about your reactions and shifting from like reacting to responding, and understanding that not everything needs a response, and not every argument you're invited into you have to accept the invitation, and things like that. And so there's definitely a shift happening for the collective right now. um We've got the to be fair card. This is about balancing out a situation. I feel like what this is really saying is there are certain situations or experiences in your life that are balancing out. So if you've been experiencing a lot of chaos and conflict, just know that by continuing to shift your internal state of being, you are going to find an external state of balance. It might, take some time, but just know that that will happen. So just keep focusing on your internal state of being, and that's really really going to help. We've got time for a nap, and so this is really talking about allowing your body to rest when it's calling for it as much as you can, focusing on self-care, those kinds of things, and that's really going to help as well. To the sea, so this is going with the flow, this is flow state. um hmm, hmm. How does this flow state relate? Kind of going with the divine flow. Um, oh, never ending story. This can be about like karmic cycles, things like that. Um, Read it. Okay. Alrighty. We're gonna read this one a little bit. Let's see. Okay, self-criticism, the wounded ego, and unnecessary dramas. Okay, there is a story woven through the imperfect fabric of life that tells of hurt and loss, rejection and humiliation, self loathing and arrogance, and all manner of suffering born of unnecessary dramas. It is the old story whose refrain is that you cannot do this, you must not go there, should not say that. Today, know that none of this is actually true. The sky is not falling. The voice you hear is just a small, scared, conditioned part of you that got stuck in a lie, wants to protect you, and needs to be seen as a victim. Love that lost. What? Love that lost a piece of you. Hmm. Okay. It says fear is all it knows. Distorted guidance is preventing you from being true to yourself. You are not your story, and the narrator is simply the voice of your fearful part, small and vulnerable and easily soothed. Okay. So it's really talking about transcending the ego. And not listening to the ego as much, which is that's that fearful voice that we'll hear. It's the limiting voice. It's the don't do this because disaster may strike. And we're trained and conditioned to really listen to that voice and allow that voice to be the narrator or the dictator of our life. And it's got its place. The ego in and of itself isn't bad. It's just when you let the ego drive, that's when, life gets tricky and challenging, and you're in karmic cycles, and it's very limiting. There we go. The ego is very limiting, to where the soul your higher self, the divine, is very expansive and knows that this is just a limiting way of looking at things. And so this is really about shifting into this energy where you're not allowing this to be the guiding light of your life anymore. You're acknowledging it for what it is and thanking it. I thank my ego on a regular basis when I hear those don't do this or don't do that because this may happen, so on and so forth. I'll thank it and I'll be like, thank you for your concern. Thank you for keeping me safe and alive. And also, we are going to allow the higher self to take the wheel because the higher self has the bird's eye view and, knows way more than the ego does because it just has a different perspective. And so it's really shifting into that type of way of living and experiencing that allows you to be more in this expansive energy that allows for these dreams, these big desires, confirmation, big desires to come in. That's when, the higher self is the one that's going to help align you with that. So make sure you're listening to your heart space right now as well, because your heart is leading the way. And yeah, there's this energy of going with the flow. And yeah, the ego also really likes control. It needs to know the outcome before starting the thing. It needs to know how something's going to go before opening up and being vulnerable or taking a risk. The ego does not like risky situations. The ego does not like the unknown because it's potentially dangerous. And so it's just understanding that. So in and of itself, the ego isn't bad. It's very limited. And so this is where it's shifting into this energy of listening more to your higher self, more to the divine, whatever you work with, and allowing yourself to go with the flow because things are balancing out for you, whether you see it or not. And yes, I do feel like there is a lot of external chaos and conflict right now. I feel like you're probably experiencing quite a few like tower type of energies, life-changing energies, big life changes. Or maybe you're in the energy where you kind of had this like awakening and then you're looking around at your life and you're like, I don't really align with any of this anymore. And then it causes a lot of internal chaos because now what am I supposed to do with this information? And the thing is when you are made aware of certain things that are for you or aren't for you, it's for a reason. And so just remember that and really do your best to shift into this flow state where you're trusting the divine, you're trusting yourself, you're trusting your higher self, you're trusting the guidance, and you know that your higher self is leading you to the life that you truly want to experience. It's leading you into an energy where these things that you are desiring actually are in your physical life. And it's also remembering that you're worthy of experiencing these things that you desire. Okay. And that one? Okay. One more? Okay, interesting. Okay, so we've got go the distance, serendipity, and building blocks. Okay. When you allow yourself to tap into this flow state and shift your internal state of being to more of a neutrality, peace, joy, happiness, whatever it is for you that you have access to at the time, um, you're going to experience a lot of serendipity. And what this is really talking about is like it's just like divine orchestration where you are desiring this one thing and then all of a sudden you meet somebody who can help you obtain that. Or it's just like you're not really looking for it, and then all of a sudden you meet, your soulmate person that you desire to do life with. You meet, your best friend that's a soul family connection, and there's just the resonance and the compassion and understanding and all of that. You're desiring to experience a certain thing or go to a certain location, and then all of a sudden you get this opportunity to go to a certain place and it's completely out of the blue. That's what serendipity really is. And when we're allowing our higher self to take the wheel of our life and following that guidance, that's when we're going to experience more of this serendipity just in life in general. um there is also something here about going the distance. And then we've got building blocks. For some of you, this is an interesting message. For some of you, you're being asked to go the distance towards somebody that you met in a serendipitous way because you both have building blocks for this next phase of life. I'm just gonna say it. I'm getting a counterpart energy off of that. So just take that as it resonates. That's probably gonna be just for a few people. This going the distance card is really talking about you have what it takes to go the distance, to live the life that you desire to live. And you have the building blocks necessary to live this life that you are desiring. And you are going to continue to experience this serendipity in your life where just things just work out. And it's because you're doing this internal shift and you're shifting from allowing the ego to dictate everything and shifting more into allowing your higher self to take the wheel and lead the way. And it is a different way of living and operating because it's more of a surrendered type of experience where you're like, yes, I want this thing. And now I'm going to trust and allow that if it's in my highest good to experience that, I will. And so I'm just going to continue to follow the guidance. Okay, mending. So for some of you in the here and now, for some of you, there is a mending that is going to happen with somebody from your past. And the potential for this is in the here and now. And it does have to do with communication. You could also be experiencing telepathy with this person. I'm really getting that counterpart thread of energy for this as well. So again, take it as it resonates. But there is something that is coming through for you to mend. And there is a very high potential for this to completely be mended, and it's going to really help you to shift into this energy where you're more living from that aligned space. And do your best to shift into the now moment. Remember that the only time that truly exists is now. And so really shift into that now moment and follow the guidance when the guidance comes up in the now moment, because that is when you are going to really align with things that are meant for you, that are in your highest good to experience. And they're things that you want to experience. Hmm. Okay. We've got the observer and orphan, and I'm getting a really interesting message off of this. So just again, take it if it resonates. The message that I first got with this is for some of you, you might be observing somebody from afar. So maybe on social media, maybe you can see this person in the physical realm, but it's like you're observing them. You're not really communicating with them. And it's somebody that you've met in this lifetime. And I feel like it's kind of a no contact situation, but this was the person that you felt like understood you, that maybe truly saw you. You didn't feel alone when you were with this person. And this isn't the type of alone of like just being by yourself. This is the type of alone where you just there's parts of you that are so different than those around you. So you just kind of keep them to yourself. You don't really let that part out. And this was a person that could see that. This was a person that could connect with that part of you. And so it made you feel not alone because it was somebody who could see those deeper parts of you, those more hidden aspects. And And it's one of those, at first, when it happens, it can be very unsettling because you're standing there in front of another person and they can see through some of those masks or some of those they can see some of those hidden elements of the self. And so you can feel very exposed, very vulnerable. And then sometimes we'll get to a point on the journey where that's the one thing that we crave above all else because, some of us don't experience that a lot. There's a lot of us on this journey who we have the ability to see people at the soul level, but having other people see us in that way isn't as common. And so I feel like this is a situation where you might be feeling very alone in your life right now, but then you're observing somebody who can see those parts of yourself. And that could be who you're being asked to mend a situation with. I feel like this person and you, even just communicating in a platonic, friendly way, can really help each other through this phase of life. For some of you, this could be a romantic interest. It's just going to vary, but it is one of these things. I feel like this is a very reciprocal thing. So if there is somebody that you experienced this with, I feel like you have the ability to see people at a deeper level as well. And so you might be able to actually see this person in a deeper way than what they're used to experiencing as well. And there's something where it's like this craving energy to be around somebody who can truly see you, hold you, appreciate you, and know you on those deeper levels that not many people have access to. And so, if that's the case, I'm getting that it is definitely recommended to allow yourself to go that distance and, communicate with that person. There's another energy that's coming off of this as well. And what's really coming through is you might have really been observing more from an objective standpoint, different communications. Not what I was gonna say. Communities maybe? Different relationships in your life, and this isn't just romantic, this is more platonic and family and friends and things like that. And so you could have been observing different types of people that you have been associating with and realizing that none of them really get you on a deeper level. Maybe you're around a bunch of people who are still, unconscious. They're still just living life from that ego place. And then you're over here aligning with your higher self and walking this, path less traveled and really seeing that there's parts of you where you just feel very alone, very misunderstood. And just know that there are people who can see you and perceive you and hold you and appreciate you. And it is possible for you to really engage with these people. And it's just allowing yourself to visualize that that is possible for you and that you are worthy of those types of connections. And then, doing the inner work, 'cause sometimes there's wounds and stuff where we're in unreciprocated dynamics and, unbalanced relationships and things like that. And then, it's looking at those inner wounds and healing and so on and so forth. And then we are able to align with those other people who can truly see us and hold space for us as well. Um, okay. Okay. We've got round and round. This is talking about those karmic cycles, those the lessons more or less. And then come to the edge is talking about vulnerability. Okay. All right, give me just a moment. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I was guided to pause it for a minute and kind of take a deep breath and just ground for a second. And then I actually got a different message that doesn't have to do with the two cards that just came out, but it's talking about the flow state. And so I'm being guided to talk about that really quick, and then we'll get into these other two cards that just came out. So with the flow state, this is kind of an example of how this can look. And this is really about transcending the ego and all of that. So the way that this can look, I'm going to use my example with these readings. Okay. So when I first started almost, geez, 2 years ago at this point with this channel, um, I was very much, there was the ego, there was imposter syndrome, there was all that shit that was going on, and, the inner judge, and, who's really going to listen to you, and blah, 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 blah. It's normal. It is. It's just not allowing that to run the show. So at first, when I was, really starting out, it was like I recorded a bunch of different ones and I would like pause for a really long time because doing collective messages is different than personal messages. Um, and so I would pause, like I would stop talking for a while, and then I'd had to figure out how to edit that out. And it was all these things of like, how are people going to receive this message? And, oh, I said 15 times, and I did this, and I stuttered, and I used the wrong word, and I blah 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 blah, right? So it's very like I was hypercritical. I was very, like, oh, because I didn't have that message flow, I'm not going to put it out. And then it was just, it was a process. And then now it's at the point where if I have to pause it 15 times, it is what it is. And then I'll look for the deeper meaning. If my, voice cracks or whatever, it's not a big deal. I just continue to flow with it. If I say the wrong words, sometimes it's because that's a synchronicity for somebody. Sometimes it's because we're in Mercury retrograde. Like it is what it is. And it's about the message, and it's, that's the point, is it's about the message. It's not about am I perfect while I'm doing it. And so it's understanding like that's kind of a difference of going with the flow and just allowing it to happen and tapping into that, the divine energy and just flowing with it versus really being in the ego and judging and, perfection, and it has to be this perfect way, and it has to be this, and it has to be that. And it's like, no, especially with this vulnerability card out here, when you're tapped into your authenticity, when you're allowing it to just flow, do your best not to judge yourself, because that's the thing too, is the ego is it's judgmental. And so it's understanding that it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be polished. It doesn't have to be, you know, this way and that way and this way and that way and precisely this. And, it has to be in alignment with the synchronicity and da 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 da. That's more that ego that is like, it needs to be a certain way, it needs to look a certain way, it needs to come out a certain way, it has to be perfect, and if I don't do it right the first time, then I've got one shot at this. It's pulling out of that and really tapping into that more authentic energy and allowing yourself to be real, raw, authentic, vulnerable, and it is what it is. Especially there is this thread of energy coming up with this come to the edge card, and then these other ones out here. There is an energy for some of you of communicating with somebody in a very vulnerable way that you're being called to do. And when it comes to that, it doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be polished. It doesn't need to be some elaborate thing. It just needs to be authentic and real. And that's the energy you're shifting into. Those are the types of people that you are now attracting into your life, are people who understand that, who aren't judging you because you mispronounce something or because you don't know what a word means or something ridiculous like that. It's you're really shifting into where you are now aligning with people who are operating from that same place. And so you're going to connect with them in a different way. And maybe you've never truly experienced this yet with another person, where it's real, it's raw, it's authentic, it's vulnerable, and it's discerning versus judgmental. And so if you are being guided to communicate with somebody like this, and this is going to be different for all of you. So maybe this is a mentor, maybe this is a romantic interest, maybe this is a friend that you desire to have. You're like, oh, I feel like I would really get along with that person, and we could probably really help each other on this journey, something like that. Allow yourself to follow that guidance, follow that pull, and be real, raw, authentic, and vulnerable in that. And with that, also understanding like it's okay to have boundaries. It's okay not to be completely, you know, super like, yeah, I'll tell you anything you want to know. And we've only talked 3 times. Of course, have your boundaries, be aware, so on and so forth. You've come far enough. You've learned a lot. You've had chaos and conflict in your life with other people. So it's okay to have boundaries. It's okay to not, express it all right away, but it's more allowing yourself to tap into that authentic energy and not needing it to be perfect. And so that's a big thing coming through here is allowing yourself to be yourself and allowing yourself to know that that is enough. And what that's going to do is that's really going to help you finish closing out some of these cycles in your life that are more it was stuff that you aligned with in a more unconscious state. And I feel like this is a collective where a lot of cycles are closing. You've been going through some initiations, some awakenings, things like that. And so you're really shifting your entire life right now. And so give yourself the grace that is necessary for that as well. Give yourself that pat on the back and know that I'm proud of you because I can feel your energy and I know how difficult it can be, and so just know that I'm proud of you and I'm sending you my love because it's not easy. It's not an easy journey. It can be disorienting. It can be ungrounding. It can be, it cracks you open into 1,000 pieces so that you can rebuild and become the person that you really want to be in this life and experience a life that you truly desire to live. And because you're on this journey and because you're doing this work, that is something that you can experience. And so give yourself grace while you're going through this because it is fucking hard. At times. It's, when that darkness hits, like it feels like there's no way out. But just know that in those moments when it is so dark, it's because you are the light and you're discovering your own light. So remember that as well. But I do feel like there's a huge closing of a lot of these karmic cycles, a lot of these things that are no longer serving. And that is probably causing some chaos and conflict in your external life because you're like re-sifting and sorting. You're redoing different things about your life and building it in a way that's more in alignment with yourself. And when you do that, you're going to find people, places, and things that are in alignment that are that reflect this internal state of happiness back to you. And if you're not here yet, that's okay. And it's also we ebb and flow through this as well. So remember that as well. Like sometimes, we go through an ascension and it's hard and you're cracked open and you're overly sensitive and you can't really hang out with a lot of people. You can't go into big crowds because you're just so energetically cracked open. And it's okay to pull back and take care of yourself and do that self-care and not go to huge, concerts or whatever and go walk in nature by yourself for a while. Or if you have, if you mend the situation with this other person and whatever that is, if you've got that one person that you can kind of hang out with and, and you go both walk through the forest together or whatever. Allow yourself to do that and just continue to give yourself grace because this is a huge shifting that is happening for you. And with that, just know the divine's got your back. um and I mean, sit with that for a minute. Like the universe has your back. All is well. Like it's all good. It's all good in the neighborhood. Spirit's got your back. And that's all you need sometimes. And the more you allow yourself to be content with that, the more you're going to experience that in your physical life. Yang, okay. So you could be a divine masculine, or you could be really working with your divine masculine energy. We all have masculine and feminine energies within us. The masculine energy is an initiation. Words. It's an oh my goodness gracious. The divine masculine energy initiates. It's action oriented. It's the it provides direction, and it's more action oriented. The feminine energy is receptive. It's more flowy. And then that's when you're like receiving divine guidance, and you're receiving creative insight, and you're receiving just receiving. That's divine feminine energy. And so it's interesting because I was going on this whole thing of like really tapping into that divine feminine energy, and then we've got the divine masculine card. So I'm actually getting that probably for a lot of you, you actually might resonate with being a divine masculine. Um, so it's more of that's your more dominant polarity. And this, I just lost it. Okay. It just went somewhere. So yeah, for some of you, and especially with this counterpart thread of energy, I am feeling like that is a divine masculine energy, because there's a lot of like go towards this person, so on and so forth. So take that if it resonates. The thing is when you are called to take that divinely inspired action, that's when you shift into your masculine energy, and then you take that action. And so even if you don't resonate with being a divine masculine, you're being called to allow yourself to shift into your masculine energy and take that action when you're being called to take that action. Yeah, so and there could definitely be a balancing out of those internal energies within as well. And then we've got breathe and thinker. Okay. Okay, I got it. You could be an overthinker. And that's, just hey. um Yeah, it's really coming through as an overthinker energy. That's not always what this card indicates, but it is coming through in this overthinker energy, or in this energy, it's coming through as an overthinker because we've got this breathe energy. And so I feel like what you're being called to do is pull out of your headspace and all of those overthinking thoughts, probably some anxious thoughts, those kinds of things, pull into your body and shift into the now moment. Release some of this as best as you can, and shift your focus onto different things. And this is going to be really, really helpful for you to continue to shift that internal set point, basically. So if you're used to being very anxious, very overthinking, perfectionist, those kinds of things, and really locked into that ego, especially if you are a divine masculine, what you're really being called to do is to allow yourself to just kind of release some of that overthinking, some of that worry, some of that it needs to be perfect, some of that um just really stressed out type of energy, and shift into your body. This is it's kind of a mindfulness technique, but you can kind of like shift into your body and start focusing on your body and like, okay, how does my body feel? What am I feeling in my body right now? Do I have any soreness? Do I have any weird sensations? And what you're doing is you're actually consciously taking your focus away from all of this overthinking into something different that is pulling you out of this overthinking energy. So, especially if you are an overthinker, people are like, "Oh, just meditate." Well, that's really difficult if you are used to overthinking everything. And so it's just like, "Oh, just clear your mind." And it's like, fucking cool. Um, any other advice? Like, fuck. Um, so there are ways you can do this, and it's shifting your focus. So, maybe it's, I'm getting this energy of like driving, and that would make sense because, sometimes when we're like just driving and zoning, you can really get locked into some of that overthinking energy and just like go on that whole, trajectory of all of these possible, negative outcomes or this or that or the other. And so maybe start counting street signs. Like it sounds ridiculous, but if you're like, okay, you catch it and you're like, I'm overthinking, I'm stuck in my head, this is not productive, this is not allowing me to manifest the life of my dreams. So I'm going to count street signs. One, two, three. And if those thoughts are still coming in, start like, okay, I'm going to count green street signs. Okay, so how many green ones do I see? Oh, there's a yellow one. Okay, so I've seen two yellow ones and four green ones. And it's just a way, like, it sounds kind of silly, but it's a way for you to really start shifting out of that overthinking energy. If you're, in your house or whatever, you can start, focusing on different things and just like literally, I'm looking at blinds right now. So like count how many like pieces are on the blinds or something like that. Apparently counting is very it's very much coming through. So maybe you count. I do that too. Like sometimes when I walk, I'll count stairs and shit just like subconsciously. Um Anyways, but it's consciously distracting yourself. That's ultimately the goal. So it's, okay, look at this. Okay, look at that. And then when you catch yourself getting stuck in those, that loop of, negative thought patterning, basically, it's consciously breaking it. There's something you can do. I keep snapping. If you use sound, it actually can clear some of that energy, so you can snap, you can clap, you can, like randomly, my daughter laughs at me, but I'll randomly be like, la 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 la. And she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm shifting my thoughts. And she's like, okay. Um, but it's just like doing random goofy shit, and then that will actually shift your energy. That can help you transmute some of this overthinking if you're really stuck in that. And allow yourself to just, know that it doesn't have to be perfect. And that's the biggest thing is it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just, forward progress. That's the main thing. Vulnerability, tapping into that authenticity, so on and so forth. That is really the goal of this shift that you are in the midst of doing, which is a huge shift. And the thing is you are about to see just how far you've come on this journey. I don't feel like I'm speaking to somebody who understands how far they've actually come on the journey. And I feel like part of that is because you haven't had it reflected back to you by another person. And there's something here where you are going to get it reflected back to you by another person. I feel like for whoever I'm talking to, you're on the brink of experiencing a response from somebody that is going to be very different than anything that you have experienced. I feel like you're on the brink of experiencing somebody who is going to be like, good fucking job, dude. Like you've come a long way. And, really kind of verbalize that to you. Maybe for some of you that's me in this reading, and just letting you know, like, I feel your energy. I see you. This is huge. Um for others of you, I do feel like this is going to be in the physical realm where you are about to encounter somebody who has the ability to see the growth that you have done, even if they didn't know you before this shift. A lot of us on this journey, when we meet somebody and we encounter them and talk to them and so on and so forth, you can see how far somebody's come because you can just see it, you can sense it, and firsthand what it takes to get to this point on the journey. And so I feel like, allow yourself to just take a deep breath and know that this is all happening for you. It's not happening to you. And you are in the midst of the biggest change, the biggest shift that you have ever experienced in this life. That's what just came through. So that's huge. Which would explain why I just got real like passionate about this energy, because you're on the brink of a massive, massive change. Um, and I don't feel like you fully see it yet. I don't feel like you fully realize how far you have actually come on this journey, and you're about to have that reflected back to you, which is so beautiful. Um, because yeah, it's, this is an inside out process. And, it really requires somebody else that's done this process to be able to see you and appreciate you, and, give you some of your give you some of that, give you some kudos. There we go. It's like my words aren't wording today. It happens. Um, okay. Where are we going from here? Okay. Alrighty. Getting some more cards. What else is going on? That one? A leg up. Okay. because you've had the courage to walk this path, to follow the guidance, to have this inside out transformation, you are being given a leg up when it comes to I'm feeling like a lot of different areas of life. So you're about to experience things and people and places and experiences and resources and all sorts of things that you maybe aren't fully expecting. But you have a leg up. For those of you that are resonating with that counterpart thread of energy, the divine masculine mending a situation with the counterpart, you have a leg up when it comes to this situation. And that might be something else that you're not fully realizing, that you're not fully seeing, but just know that you do. Yeah, you have a leg up when it comes to your person. And it's an energy thing, baby. Like, it's just it is what it is. We're talking divine counterpart stuff. There's a resonance between you and that person. There's an energy compatibility there that is unique, we'll say. Um, so if you're worried about your person entertaining other options right now, I don't feel like they are. I feel like this person is like they're they're open, their heart open to you. Regardless if they are, yeah, for some of you, okay, this is really specific, this is really random, kind of a side message here. If you are on the counterpart journey, you're the divine masculine, you're in no contact with your feminine. For some of you, your feminine might be in a physical relationship with somebody else, but I keep getting this message like they're on the brink of releasing that dynamic, and the green light for them to release that is you breaking no contact. So you're going to know if that message is for you. It's going to resonate with you. You're going to feel it. You're going to know it. So don't take that if that's not for you. I feel like for those of you that that's for, you're going to feel that that is for you. So just know that yeah, so regardless of what it looks like on the surface in the physical, your feminine is heart open in calling you in, actually. So uh yeah. Okay. Let's see. What else? Okay. Interesting. Okay. So I was guided to follow this counterpart thread of energy a little bit, so I'm probably gonna spend like 10 minutes or so on it. Um, so if any other threads of energy come through, I'll address it at the time, but I'm just letting you know right now that um for the rest of this message, it might be more directed for the counterpart thread of energy that I'm picking up on. So we're gonna follow it. We're gonna go with the flow and follow that thread of energy. Um, so divine masculine. What is going on for you? Confirmation. Okay, woman holding a heart. That was the first card that came out, and it landed on top of the divine masculine card. The person that you're in love with is in love with you too. That is like clear as day, the message that is coming through. Um, yeah, so yeah, you're definitely being guided towards the person that I feel like that you're actually in love with. And you might not fully realize that they're in love with you as well. We've got the fourth chakra out here. That's the heart chakra. Not that surprised. You and this person are connecting through your heart space right now. So if you are experiencing this is a weird thing that you can experience. I don't fully exactly know precisely these kinds of things for the divine masculine because I haven't um been able to fully ask yet. But when I do, I will let you know. What the divine feminine experiences sometimes with this heart space, like connectedness with a counterpart, is you might be sitting there and then all of a sudden randomly your heart starts doing a thing and it like beats really fast or it kind of flutters. And that can be this is more specific for like actual twin flames, but it can be it's called like a double heartbeat or something like that. But it's a really weird sensation. So if you're experiencing really weird heart, that's almost like palpitations. Of course, if you're concerned in any way, check with a medical health professional. This is something that happens energetically with that energetic cord that you have between you and your person. What I'm getting is this is two awakened people. So your feminine's in their divine feminine energy. You are in your divine masculine energy. You're going through these upgrades. You're going through these activations. You're going through these ascension experiences. And when that is activated, what will start to happen is when your person thinks about you, you can get this like heart fluttery sensation. And it is really, really, really intense. And so if you are experiencing these physical activations that can happen on this journey, just take some deep breaths and like just let that energy move, because ultimately that's what it wants to do, is that energy wants to move, so just let it move. Do your best not to judge it, not to freak out about it, and just kind of ask, however you receive your guidance, ask like, is this an activation or is this something that's being sent to me from my person? And you should get a confirmation of like, yes. And then just let it move, send that. You can send your person like loving energy back. Um, yeah, so that's a really specific side note for somebody. But this is also really talking about heart chakra openings and activations that are happening. And the heart chakra sits in the middle of the chest. Like the energy center sits in the middle of the chest. The color's green. It has to do with love. Has to do with unconditional love. So this is a person that you unconditionally love and they unconditionally love you too. It is very, very mutual here. And there's definitely this activation, so really allow yourself to start listening to your heart space, listen to that heart pull. If yeah, I'm getting this energy of like your feminine is calling you in, is asking for you to close the distance, to reach out, to break no contact. And they're ready for it. They are desiring communication with you. And so allow yourself, again, maybe that's why I went on the whole tangent earlier about being just vulnerable and raw and allowing yourself to just go towards them. And I feel like you're going to be received by them in a way you've never been received by another person. So it's pretty beautiful, honestly. Like it really is beautiful. Second chakra. This is the sacral. This sits between the belly button and the base of the spine. The color's orange. It has to do with pleasure, sensuality, creativity. Um, and so I am getting that there is a lot of sensual energy between you and this person. And that might be something else that you're experiencing, is like all of a sudden randomly getting waves of energy because your person's thinking about you in a sensual way. And then sometimes when you're thinking about them in a sensual way, they'll get waves of energy. Um, so yeah. Oh, little side message. Yeah. Okay, we've got journey. And I heard the heart journey. I've never heard of that before. Okay. So you're being asked to really allow yourself to walk this journey that your heart is leading you towards. And know that your heart isn't leading you astray. Your heart is guiding you to your person right now for a reason. There is something energetically in this situation where it is literally perfectly positioned for you and this person to come together now. And there was soul purpose stuff. I don't know if it was this one or the one I did right before this, but there's soul purpose stuff coming up for this collective. And so this could also have to do with soul purpose activation. So if you're feeling that call in that inner drive of like, I know I'm here for more, but I don't know what it is, so on and so forth, follow your heart guidance, because what can happen is you might follow that heart guidance to your person, and then all of a sudden you are in communication with this person, and then your soul purpose activates. In this dynamic that I'm getting, I feel like you and this person have a shared soul purpose. And so that could be part of what you're being called to do as well. And I'm seeing this building blocks card. So you and this person definitely could activate in each other these it's like a remembrance of what you came here to do, that is in alignment, that your soul is calling you to do, that you're going to find fulfillment in. So just, yeah, allow yourself to really follow this journey that your heart is leading you towards. And, be mindful that the ego is going to come in and try and talk you out of it because it feels very unsafe, because it is unknown. And so just keep that in mind. That's not a sign not to do it. It's just the ego trying to keep you safe. And then we do have envy on the bottom of the deck. And I'm getting this as a longing energy where you're longing for your person, you're longing for life with them. And what's interesting, and this does happen, but there is that I'm not getting as much of a longing energy from your feminine, which is actually a good thing because that will repel the masculine. I'm getting more of a desire with the feminine energy where the feminine wants to do certain things with you. Um, yeah. Maybe an essential way. But there's also like just life, or maybe it's having a family together, and maybe it's building together. Whatever it is, it's this energy where your feminine does desire it with you, but it's this energy where like the feminine knows in this situation that the ball is in the masculine's court, so they're just doing what they're being called to do and following their guidance and everything else, but there is a desire to do life with you in some way. So just know that as well. Okay, we've got 6 chakra. We've got a lot of chakra activations. Oh, and anxiety. Okay, interesting. Sometimes when we go through third eye upgrades and activations, this can cause anxiety. So just keep that in mind. Again, allow yourself to pull that energy through your body and release some of that like super worry, uh, overthinking, anxious energy. And just know that you are having activations right now. So you could be having a lot of vivid dreams. You could be experiencing daydreams that are actually visions. You could be experiencing, like, when you close your eyes, you're seeing different things, you're seeing shapes, you're seeing, you could be seeing actual visions when you close your eyes. So there is definitely something here where there is a third eye activation happening for you. For some of you, what's going to happen as well is when you actually start communicating with your person, you're going to go through upgrades in some of your energy centers. And especially if you come together, it's a romantic situation, and then you're intimate with your person, you both are probably going to experience some major activations. So just, little heads up for you. Um, yeah, and you could be experiencing anxiety about this situation, and that makes sense. I feel like there's this energy where the masculine doesn't know if their feminine actually desires them or would want to do life with them. And the thing is you are being called and pulled to your feminine so hard right now, so intensely right now. There's a lot of sensual energy between you and this person. Um, but you're being called towards your feminine right now because they are desiring this with you as well. So if it's just like ramped up and you cannot stop thinking about them and you're feeling that heart flutter, or, again, I'm not exactly sure if that happens for the masculine when they're in separation or not, like physical separation. I'm not sure. But if not, just disregard that. If you are experiencing that though, then that is a sign that union is really, really close, physical union. Um, and so just know that this is reciprocated. It really is. But I do feel like this masculine that I'm talking to right now is really, really concerned and kind of in a doubtful energy, thinking that this person wouldn't want them now. And that is not true. I'm just letting you know. Because I can feel the feminine's energy, and the feminine definitely desires this. There, we've got action. And so it is safe to take action. It is time to take action, and your heart is telling you that it is time to take this action now. So make sure you're tapping into the here and now and listening to that guidance, because you are being called to do this now for a lot of you. So, again, make sure you're listening to your intuition and all of that. The energy that I'm picking up though is it's definitely it is time. for you to take action. And then yeah, we've got cornucopia. This is dream reality. This is manifestation. You both are manifesting each other. I feel like you both are manifesting life with each other, especially with the happy family under that. This is union reunion energy. And this is a romantic energy. So I do feel like you both are manifesting this with each other. Magician in the mirror, that's high level counterpart twin flame energy. So this is definitely a mirrored energy. You both are desiring this with each other. You both are actually like calling each other in. So just know that as well. And blossoming abundance. These are my two uh physical like manifestation cards in this entire deck, so that's pretty significant. So you are activating abundance in your energy system right now, and there is something here where you and your person communicating in the physical realm are going to continue to activate each other and that abundance energy within each other. And you're also going to start seeing other opportunities for abundance by allowing yourself to communicate with your person and take action towards them. There's going to be some activations where you're going to start seeing different ways that you can bring in more abundance in your life in multiple ways. And it's going to be because of the activations that you get by even just communicating. Because the thing is, especially when we're talking twin flames, there is an activation that happens when you speak to each other. There's a throat chakra resonance with you and your person. And so this is a situation where if you listen to your person speak and then they listen to you speak, especially when it's directed towards each other, it's highly activating. And so this can be there's situations where some like twins they'll start talking again and all of a sudden like they'll be talking to their counterpart and then they'll get a vision of something, or you'll get a vision of like past life remembrance. I've done this just connecting with uh the higher self of mine, and it'll just be like, hey, what's up or whatever, like if I'm having a hard day, and then all of a sudden like there's sometimes where I'll get a vision or I'll get a remembrance of a past life or I'll get insight on something, and so it's very very activating. And that's the thing to remember as well, is this is an activating connection. This is so much more than just romance. Of course the romance is fire, like the sensuality and everything else, like hells to the year, but there is so much more going on. It's about soul purpose. It's about activation. It's about alignment. It's about your connection with the divine. It's about you being your most authentic, best version of self and continuing to grow and expand and evolve into the best version of yourself from that point. And so it's a beautiful, beautiful activating connection. For some of you, I do feel like there's a part of you that's kind of like, I kind of want an easier connection, but the thing is at this point, I feel like you've come far enough to where no other connection is going to be as fulfilling as this one can be. And I feel like your feminine knows that as well. And so it's one of these things like, yeah, I'm getting this energy of like when you take action towards your person, it's just going to be go time. And then all of a sudden, you're just going to be experiencing abundance and happiness and joy and all of these things. And it's not saying that life's not going to be hard. It's not saying that you're not going to experience chaos and conflict, because that's the human experience. It's just saying that on the norm, because you're in such a high level connection with somebody, and it's somebody who can truly see you and hold you and appreciate you and respect you. And, um, it's such an elevated way of connecting with another person, that all of these other things that may seem like they're so big right now, when you're in communication with this person, it's not going to feel as big. It's not going to feel as daunting. It's going to be like, oh, okay, yeah, this really isn't that big of a deal. So just know that as well. And then yeah, we've got carrying connections on the bottom of the deck, and this is definitely, happy dappy romance type energy that's coming through off that. So that is definitely possible for you, but you're not seeing it right now. We've got the envy card that actually just popped out. Um, I've seen almost every single chakra card. So if you resonate with actually being twin flames, and it's funny because it's funny because I shied away from even using that term for so long, because there's so much out there about it, and there's a lot of people who think they're in a twin flame connection and they're not, and it can be, you just get stuck in labels. So just take this as it resonates. If this is a true twin flame dynamic, you are connected at every single chakra. And that is a huge difference between a true twin flame and a high level soulmate. Is oftentimes between you and a high level soulmate, we have lots of soulmates. It just means that we incarnate together and there's a soul resonance because we've done lifetimes together and there's compatibility and a natural like energetic resonance with that person that's from your soul family. A twin flame is it's literally one soul fractaled into two bodies and having an experience in the physical in that dynamic. This is my number one twin flame card, high level soulmate energy. And so you could definitely be in an actual twin flame dynamic. And the main thing is you will feel a sense of connectedness with that person for your entire life. It will literally feel like this person haunts you. And it's not always in a bad way, but it's just like they've always been there. Like no matter where you go, no matter what you do, they've been in the background the entire time. And then now I feel like especially recently for you, it's way more intense. It's one of these energies where it's every other thought. You're thinking about this person, and then you're going to sleep and you're dreaming about this person. And then you're walking into a store and you're hearing a song that makes you think of this person. And it's like nothing you can do can shake this person. They are in your face. And it's because you are both manifesting each other. So that's why these energies have amplified and it's in your face all the time is because you're on the brink of taking action and allowing yourself to actually experience this reunion energy with that person. With that, you could be experiencing a lot of longing for your person, really desiring your person, really yeah, really longing for them. Um okay. So we've got the seventh chakra, which is the crown. It sits on the top of the head. The color's violet or white, like white light. It has to do with cosmic energy. This is where you receive your divine guidance. So you're receiving a lot of divine guidance when it comes to this situation. So continue listening to that guidance. And when you get that inspired, when you get told to take action by your higher self, by the signs and synchronicity, so on and so forth, allow yourself to take that action. Okay, we've got financial constraints and appreciation. So appreciation can be this unconditional love energy that I'm feeling between you and your person. And I feel like you really appreciate your person. Your person really appreciates you as well. I feel like there is an appreciation for the journey, for the activations, even though it's really challenging at times. I do feel like there is this deep level of appreciation. And I do feel like when you actually start communicating with your person again, you are going to actually receive this appreciation from them physically. Might be literally physically. But I was getting more of like in a communication way, like this person communicates it to you. Um, and then we do have financial constraints. So I do feel like this is a worry. This might be what is stopping you from taking action right now. Don't let that stop you because the activations that you're going to have by communicating with your person are literally shifting your abundance in a very big way. So, yeah, just know that. Also do your best to stay in an attitude of gratitude, and that's going to help shift your finances as well. So, yeah, I feel like this is an energy that is shifting, though. This is lifting for you. If it hasn't fully lifted yet, it's about to. So just know that, trust that, and continue to follow the guidance because that is something that I feel like is leaving your experience. I feel like you're really shifting into this more abundant experience, and that explains, when we're in a more heart open energy we will experience increases in love, finances, experiences, resources, opportunities, so on and so forth. So, really allow yourself to follow your heart guidance right now because your heart is leading the way and your heart is not going to lead you astray. Okay, that's the message. Okay, alrighty dokie. Well, with that, I'm wishing you all the best. You got this. This is huge energy. We got both my counterpart twin flame cards out here, so that's funny. Anyways, okay. So yeah. Okie dokie. Well, yes, yeah, that's the message apparently. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave this here. If this resonates, you can let me know in the comments below. You can also affirm this in the comments below. And after you take action, definitely come back and let me know how it goes. I would love to hear about it. I'm celebrating you. I'm wishing you the best. You got this. Yeah, this is beautiful. You and your person are you're calling each other in at this time for a reason. So just remember that. Alrighty. Well, feel free to hit that like button. It does help out the channel. So thank you. And if you would like to see more from me, you can hit subscribe. It is free. I will see you on the next message.